I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to call the regular city council meeting for Tuesday, October 4th to order, and we'll have roll call.
Goodchild?
Yes.
Donlin?
Here.
Wick?
Yes.
Sturgeon?
Yes.
Bruns?
Here.
Motion to approve the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. General discussion, citizens. We have any citizens here that care to speak? How were the pancakes, Jimmy?
Good.
Good. All right.
I had 4.
All right. Attaboy.
Just say my middle name is Jethro, you know, on the Billings.
Moving on to the thumbs up award, Mike.
I'll offer a thumbs up to our street department and their partners. They are, especially on the north side of town, getting a lot of work underway to repair some streets and concrete that's really needed. So, well done, keep it going.
Ryan.
Pass.
Clark, pass. I'll echo the street department. I was on a walk and noticed one of the crosswalk lights had got shifted, and happened to run into Scott on the walk, and he said it's probably already fixed. So either I need to walk faster or he needs to work slower. But good job, they were Johnny on it. So I think that's all I have. So Steve.
Thumbs up to our fire department and rescue crew for their pancake dinner on Sunday. Jimmy was there, obviously. I was there.
Yeah.
Always a good turnout, always a good time. Chief made great coffee too, by the way. It was excellent.
Mr. Sturgeon.
Pass.
All right. Moving on, we'll move on to consent items. We have an approval of the September 20, 2022 regular meeting minutes, a list of bills for period ending 9/30/22, a new 5-day liquor license for Bockers out at the fairgrounds, an annual street finance report, resolution and roll call for that, urban revitalization tax exemption rule or requests, and surplus property and the Fetzer addition. We need a roll call for that as well.
Any questions on any?
Number 7, would you tell me where the Fetzer addition is?
Used to be John Coley house on Highway 3.
Okay.
No, it's Greenwood.
It is not in city limits, but is within close enough to proximity that we have to decide on. We have to approve it.
Yeah.
Surplus property, I see Doug back there. Doug, can you sell that on Big Iron, or what are you doing?
Yeah, one of them, some online site.
Do you have any idea what you think it's worth?
The little bit I looked, probably somewhere in that 2,000 to 8,000 range.
Okay.
It's gonna be hard to tell.
All right. I'm curious, thank you, sir.
Is that eligible for the tough truck contest?
It's, it drove
If you
over,
buy it, it is.
it drove over a car about 15 years ago.
Thought that was the one. I didn't want to call anybody out.
Motion to approve consent items 1 through 7.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We need a roll call for those items.
Wick?
Yes.
Sturgeon?
Yes.
Bruns?
Yes.
Donlin?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes, we need to throw a resolution number 2240 in on number 7. I apologize for that. You can make that part of the motion.
2240 would be on number 4.
Yep.
And 2241 on.
Oh, there are 2. I apologize, guys. Okay. You should correct my motion. I appreciate that.
Finish roll call? All right. Motion carried. Moving on to action items. We have the sewer revenue bonds. So over the last several meetings, council has taken action on the financing for wastewater improvements, the 2022 Ultraviolet Disinfection project. Attached are the final required resolutions and documents to be approved. bond proceeds should be transferred to the city's bank account around October 2022. The first principal and interest payments on the bonds will be due June 1, 2023.
Motion adopting resolution number 2242, authorizing and approving the loan agreement providing for the insurance of $5,485,000 sewer revenue bond series 2022, other documents related to the bond.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Donlin?
Yes.
Sturgeon?
Yes.
Bruns?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes. Motion adopting resolution number 2243, providing for the insurance and securing of payment of future obligations for the purpose of borrowing money for the city's municipal sanitary sewer system. Does that need to be specified as ultraviolet or not?
No, so actually the second resolution here, when we were talking with the folks at Dorsey and Whitney, they said it'd be good to have an overall master resolution
Okay.
that kind of sets up which bonds come first.
Okay.
With upcoming financing out there. So this one, it relates to the UV project, but it also kind of sets the tone for the rest of the financing.
Okay, my motion stands as read.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Donlin?
Yes.
Wick?
Yes.
Bruns?
Yes.
Sturgeon?
Yes.
Goodchild?
Yes. Motion carried. Moving on to the Memorial and Resthaven Cemetery rules. So first of all, before we get started, I want to thank Jan and Wayne and others that contributed for their work on this. This was a lot of work to put together, so. The Lamar's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 116, Cemeteries, gives the council the power to make rules and regulations for cemeteries. These rules apply to both cemeteries owned by the city, Lamar's Memorial Cemetery and Resthaven Memory Gardens. Attached are the rules prepared by the city staff. These rules will be available online and provided to potential purchasers of lots. The Memorial Cemetery has historically had a section designated for veterans, but nothing has ever been formally established by ordinance. Administration has been working with Wayne Chipper to formally establish this section. Wayne will be available at the council meeting to answer questions. So, the recommendation from the Public Works Committee is that we approve the rules and regulations and proceed to a public hearing to amend the Lamar's Code of Ordinances, Chapter 116, to coincide with new rules and veterans designated section.
Wayne, do you want to speak to that at all?
Yeah, first of all, thanks to Jason for giving me the opportunity to work with the clerk and the financial director for the city. We feel it's been kind of important to take a look at the city cemetery where that block is at. That block 13 has always been used basically for veterans up to this point, but we felt that it probably needed to have shored up with an ordinance so that down the road, if we're able to secure some funding through the Veterans Administration, that we maybe would have a chance to qualify for that also. Because we're always looking for assistance to veterans. And that Block 13 has not been molested with other types of interments or things of that nature. It strictly has 67 veterans that are buried there. And so we researched that to make sure that they met that qualification, that they're there through the Veterans Administration, and all of them do meet that criteria. And if you've been up there, what we did too is Joel Johnson and a scout, Sam, get that right, McGuire, if I can remember right, went up, straightened out some of those stones, they were angulated. And so we got them more in rows so it's more presentable. So when you drive up through that city cemetery, you'll see that these markers are all pretty much in line now. And they're all the same size like they're supposed to be through the government program that they were assigned to put in that particular part of the cemetery. Also, if you take a look when you drive there, you'll see that the border of that particular block of 13 has got hard surface around 3 sides, and then there's one side to the east that separates 12 and 13 block that you can drive down through there. That hasn't got hard surface, but it does have the separation there. So it sets alone, and it needs to probably be that way. With that said, you can always amend that someday, but I think you need to have something in play there that we can hang our hats on. Working with finance also, they've got that figured out too on a funding mechanism too that coincides with your increments in cemeteries. So all that comes together. One last thing is Resthaven up there does not have the same type as you do up here. Up there, they're sporadic wherever, and they're also flat. There's 2 types of markers. There's a flat one, there's one that stands up, and we were utilizing this up here to your city cemetery memorial, that all those have to be the same and they all stand up. They're not flat type style. So everything, like I said, blends together up there. What I did is put together a committee of people that served in the military, that have some military understanding of how that works. And I won't mention their names real quick. Gary Kuntz had 28 years of service. Tom Tanoff had 28. Nick Hansen had 13. They had a mixture of service: Air Guard, Army Guard, regular Army, regular Air Force, and myself, of course, I was strictly Navy. Only one branch wanted me, and that's the only one I stayed in. I didn't want to roam around to any other places. But we were represented by enough of the different military groups that they could give the input. We went on site and checked out site after I met with the city to say, yeah, go ahead and see what you can come up with. So that's important to me too, that we have some people that were actually on site to see how this would all fare out. And I think together we've worked it out pretty good. And it's understandable. If a lay person can understand this, we're a lot better off. Not that I'm trying to take your job away from you, city attorney, but I'm just saying if we get that worked out, I think it's a lot better for people when they want to utilize that. And also now it's spelled out, defined how you can utilize that section, and I think that it's something worthwhile that you should consider doing and moving on with that. Any questions?
Wayne, you said there's approximately how many buried right now in that area?
67.
And what would you judge the capacity of it would be?
3 times that much.
Okay, so it's 2/3 of capacity still to come.
That you can still utilize.
Okay.
Are there any sold plots right now that aren't being used that we have to then confirm they're veterans?
You can't do that.
Okay.
The only way that this works is you have to keep them in a row. You buy them at the time of death. Also, you can have your spouse, which was never spelled out, that you could have your spouse next, but you have to pay, that you can enter next to the veteran. Other than that, that's how that works. If, for instance, I would die, I already have mine in another cemetery, so I'm not in a political movement here by trying to get this in. Let the public know that already. But if I would die, as an example, my wife, they would have to purchase the lot next to it during this time frame.
Right.
And you have a certain period of time there to get that accomplished. Can't do it overnight. When there's a death, it takes a little longer some things. But that's how you get the next one. If somebody gets buried in there, that's just the way it works. And that way you keep your cemeteries, you don't have a sporadic look in there. It's in columns and it's in rows.
Are there any spouses in there currently?
No, but there is one spoken for that they got it time, and it was a reversal. It was a wife who was a military person has passed away and then went for the other. Yep.
Great.
Thanks for your work.
Yeah, thanks for your work. I think this is great. And we're lucky that Steve did all the work beforehand to keep it from getting molested. Or, I'm using the term you used.
I have to be real careful because our new development director, we found out I can use some different terminology once in a while. One last thing too is I'll put it out here, we're trying to take a tree out, which I have to talk to Jason, we talked to the people that take care of that, Brad, and we've marked a tree in the center that's going bad where we would like eventually to put some sort of stone in the center of that would run $5,000 or $6,000 that would match the small ones, but it'd be a taller one with a flagpole, and it would have some verbiage on there with some artwork for that particular area, other than where you come in and see the one from Civil War, but it'd be right on that block area. So I'll probably be bothering you people again. I don't want to steal from somebody else's budget. I used to work those for 30 years. I don't know how they work. So anyway, but thanks for your time, and I appreciate this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey Wayne, as long as you're there, how's the military park doing? I know this is a little bit out of order, but you kind of manage the military Westmar area up there. Is everything going good there?
Yeah, I'll have an update for you on the Veterans Memorial Park here in the real near future, because we're having some things that we're taking care of up there and changing some things out too, but I'll have an actual time where I'll come and give you that.
Good enough, thank you.
Update.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion approving resolution number, whatever's next.
2244.
2244, establishing rules and regs for Lamar's Memorial Cemetery and Resthaven Memory Gardens.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Sturgeon,
Yes.
Bruns,
Yes.
Goodchild,
Yes.
Wick,
Yes.
Donlin,
Yes.
Motion carried. We have another motion.
And you get another motion, this time to establish October 18th, 2022 at noon as the date and time for a public hearing to amend the Lamar's Code ordinances, chapter 116, AKA cemeteries.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Moving on to the Lamar's Industrial Park South concept. So Lamar's Industrial Park South was originally platted in 2009 with 9 lots. A portion of the subdivision was replatted in 2020 to add 33rd Street Southwest and 22nd Avenue Southwest right-of-way. What remains of both plats is Lot 1. The original plat was 0.92 acres, and that was retained by the city for a potential water well site. Lot 2, 18.39 acres, retained by the city for Sportsman's Club. Lot 8, 6.07 acres, that's for sale. Lot 2, 4.92 acres for sale. Lot 3, 7.26 acres for sale. And Lot 5, 8.28 acres for sale, or excuse me, that was retained by the city for possible future grass and tree site. It is being proposed that lots 2 and 3 of the replat be replatted once again to create smaller lots around and under 1 acre. Aerials of concepts are attached. If the concept is approved, the replatting process could begin. Mark, do you want to speak to kind of the original concept of this and why we're...
Yeah, it would actually be 2, 3, and 8, so everything that's.
So lots 2, 3, and 8?
Yeah, the reason for the idea is in our industrial park, our smallest lot is 2.35 acres, and then they go up to approximately 5 acres. And when a smaller project comes along, we either lop off a chunk of a larger lot, or we sell them a big lot and they don't utilize a lot of it. And I noticed in the community what's missing for industrial lots is those half acre to acre size lots, and they're popular. Examples are down by the Corkett, that area, those types of businesses. Right now, if one comes to me, we don't have lots where we can accommodate them. And we really don't want to start breaking up our industrial park lots, and some of the types of businesses would lend themselves to small lots, such as the trades, some of these guys that build these larger storage buildings that have smaller businesses in those. And what prompted this is a couple of weeks ago, I did have somebody call me with a small machine shop that's looking for an acre of ground. And we took a look at one of our 2.35 acres, it just doesn't make sense. And so if we create this, my experience has been in 2 other communities that I've worked in, is we can sell anywhere from 4 to 8 of these lots in a year's time. The demand's out there, we just don't have the place to accommodate them. So what I would propose is we go through this platting and do it in phases to where we don't have all the upfront costs for the infrastructure. And then we should be able to sell those lots for significantly more to help us recoup our infrastructure costs. If you look at what we're offering those larger lots now, we're in that 65 cents a square foot range. My experience has been you can get $2 a square foot for the smaller lots, and we've gotten that. And so it just makes sense to be able to recoup your investment through the sale of lots, and we can fulfill a need that we aren't currently filling.
What zoning are you looking at for this area? And then secondarily, are there gonna be any covenants with these lots?
So there are covenants in place.
Okay.
They're very general covenants. They talk about, the covenants that we have right now talk about the types of businesses that we don't want out there, such as a junkyard, auto salvage, and then the other part of the current covenants are if there's outdoor storage, that there's a fence around it. The only thing I would suggest to add to the covenants, or else we could do that through a purchase agreement, would be some sort of a clawback provision. So if someone would purchase a lot, our reason for selling lots is to get development. And if someone doesn't develop the lot, then we don't want someone to speculate, sit on it, and then make money on it.